I was on site alone, and a young man came in my office with 2 butcher knives, and I was held hostage. I was robbed. I was tied up. I was sexually assaulted. Had a plastic bag tied over my head. Locked up in a bathroom. The light turned off. The door was locked with my car keys, my office keys, and he drove off in my car.
I was standing on the side of the road waiting for the school bus, and a man pulls up in a car and pulls a gun and says, "Get in the car or I'll blow your head off." Okay, I got in the car.
He was a well-liked person, respected in the community. As far as I knew, he was a good student in high school. You know, he worked at the boys' club.
You should be more afraid of the boy you grew up with, or the person you've been working side by side with for the last couple of years, or your mom's friend, anyone that you know. It's the acquaintances that you really should be afraid of. And I really want people to know that so that they won't blame themselves like I did.
It's sort of a really eye-opening experience to have been raped, because it could be anyone. I mean, my boyfriend worked for Animal Rights Group. He used to tell me, like, oh, I found a spider in my apartment, but I couldn't kill it, so I trapped it and took it outside. You know, like, it can be anyone.
I was waiting for him to stop. I just remember thinking that this is not actually going to take place. He's not really going to do this, because he's supposed to be my friend, you know, and I've asked him to stop. I've begged him to stop. He sees the tears on my face. Why won't he get up? Why won't he stop?
I wasn't sure if I wanted to have sex with him, and I just made that clear. You know, we'd been friends before, so I just assumed I could take his word for it when he said, "Oh no, it's fine. It doesn't matter." But evidently, it did matter to him. So, you know, one night he just raped me, and I couldn't believe it happened.
In my mind, I realized that I probably couldn't fight him off, you know, because he was going to be stronger than I was. And if I did fight him off, maybe he would become more violent than that. So I just decided in my mind to just give in, and maybe he would just leave me alone after that.
I guess my survival instinct was to just pretend it never happened. And it was like a misunderstanding. So I just denied that it ever happened for a long time. But you can't deny that kind of stuff forever. It'll come out.
I was taking a shower, and as the water's running over me, the thought occurred in my mind, did what happened actually happen? Were you just raped by this man?
He killed my innocence. It was, I don't know, I felt like there was a part of me that died that day.
The minute I told him no, he should have stopped. And regardless of it being someone you know or a stranger in the street, it's still rape, and it's not your fault.
After I was raped, I really thought that was it. I thought that was the end of the world.
I felt dirty. I remember after it happened, he dropped me off at home, and I went in the house, and I took the clothes off. I took the clothes that I had on, I took them off, and I tied them in a plastic bag and put them in the garbage can. I tied them in a couple of plastic bags. And I just put all the clothes in the garbage can. And I went and I took a bath. And I remember the water, I had the water so hot that it was like really burning. And it just seemed that no matter how hot I got the water, or how much soap I used, or how hard I scrubbed, I just couldn't get rid of him. It was like he was just there on me, and I felt dirty.
When rape had come up with my friends before, my friends had all said, well, I would rather die than live through rape. And so I just had this assumption that you weren't going to live through it.
I had this feeling that I survived this, And if I can survive that, I'm going to be okay. This is just temporary. And it wasn't temporary.
Scary and terrifying. And in some ways I wanted it to just go away and thought if it'll just go away. And it doesn't. And it plays out in all areas of your life.
I guess I wanted to be through with it, but it wasn't through with me.
I couldn't even go to the store. I felt uncomfortable being around people in general. Just going to Walmart to get something was difficult, and to make that decision was difficult because I was doubting everything that I did and I didn't know why. It was turbulent, it was disruptive, it was your entire life flipped upside down in a matter of seconds.
I was afraid of all men, first of all. And then I was afraid of what are people going to think of me. I felt like I had been used, and people could tell just by looking at me. And I was afraid that people wouldn't respect me anymore, because before this happened, I felt like a really strong person. And after it happened, I felt so weak, and I didn't think that people would respect me for being so weak. I just had no faith that things would turn out well in the world. Because beforehand, I was sort of optimistic, and I just assumed things were going to turn out okay. But the experience sort of taught me that that's not a given. So I was just sort of scared of everything.
Fearful, afraid of my own shadow, any movement around me, afraid to go out, for fear it would happen again. Had flashbacks, horrible flashbacks.
Boy, it would be so easy now that I'm, in this car, and there's so many options of how to die in a car. I could just easily kill myself here and now and just end it, and it would be like this great peace. Well, before I went to the Dekalb Crisis Center, I was in this stage where I had just started leaving the house and just started getting out of bed. I lost all this weight because I didn't have the energy to chew.
So I called the Rape Crisis Center and got a call back from Debbie, and went and met with her, and I was so scared I think I tripped down the stairs the first time I went. I was so nervous.
You kind of have to take a deep breath, because walking in there, you have to acknowledge to yourself that you were raped.
And it was so calming. They're wonderful people.
They bring you in, and there's a waiting room. And while you're sitting there, they ask if there's anything you need. If you just want someone to sit there with you until you go in to meet with a counselor, they'll do that, anything that you need.
She made me feel comfortable. She made me feel at home. She made me feel safe.
Giving you back a little bit of the control that you lost is what it is.
It seemed like finally somebody understood and that they cared.
They kind of led me through it. It was almost like a hand-holding type of experience, like a parent holding a child's hand to guide them through it. So, yeah, it was warm. It was comfortable. It was almost familiar.
There were hugs. There was hugs. I was loved.
And I guess I just started feeling so safe there that I felt safe enough for the fear to come out, which is sort of an interesting paradox, because you start feeling good and then it's like, okay, I feel good enough to feel bad.
We have the candle ritual where we light a candle in the center of the table, the coffee table at the beginning. That kind of means we're all here, we're all present now.
And it became kind of a focal point. You just look at the candle and you know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
And everything is going on, and it feels like the world is turning upside down, and there's this one flame that's sitting right there that's never changing. It's steady, it's soothing, it's calming, and it kind of helps you shut out everything else.
Hearing other women's stories and hearing how other women feel and felt takes away some of the guilt.
Especially with the 24-hour hotline. I've had nightmares. I've had 3 nightmares in a row in one night. And anytime, day or night, you can call. So, And they've stayed on the phone with me as long as I needed.
They offered a family as well. And my husband decided to take advantage of the counseling that they offered there.
I was not home, or I was out of town when this happened, and this massive feeling of guilt that I wasn't here and I wasn't able to do anything when it happened, it really, it just chewed me up inside. The ability to sit down and share with others and bond with others over something catastrophic as this is something that, frankly, I'm glad was there. I'm glad it was there.
Thank God he was brave enough to do that. And it has helped both of us put our lives back together as a couple, not only as individuals, but as a couple. It's been very meaningful to us.
I think long term it made us much closer. It made us value life more, and it made us value the things that are around us more. And if anything, we valued ourselves and our relationship more.
They helped me feel like I would be okay, like life would be okay.
Last night, someone behind me was playing with plastic, and I heard the sound, and my body responded. And it took me a few moments to realize what it was. It was plastic behind me, and that was my body responding, not my intellectual side responding, and I was able to work through it and be okay with it. And that's what I learned at the Crisis Center, is how to deal with that on a day-to-day basis.
That's great.
The power of a supportive group, which is what a support group is. I know so many people will say, oh, a support group, what's that? You sit around and talk. Well, yeah, you sit around and you talk, or you don't talk if you don't want to. And you listen and you learn and you are heard and you're supported. And the power that comes from that is almost unimaginable.
So I think it'd be really, really important to talk about it more in school, just so you don't feel so helpless if it happens to you and you know where maybe I could go here or there, and also just to prevent it from happening.
A couple of volunteers from Dekalb Rape Crisis will come in and present the Healthy Relationships curriculum, educating children about both ends of it so that they don't become people who harass sexually, as well as how to handle it if they're exposed to it, which in the halls of a middle school, there's all kinds of sexually harassing behavior, which we're minimizing because of work like this with Dekalb Rape Crisis.
The Dekalb Rape Crisis Center works on a volunteer basis, whether that's volunteering your time, your money, or any other resources. And please, please give. Call the Dekalb Rape Crisis Center, ask them what they need, and give to an unbelievably worthy cause.
Gosh, supporting the center is like supporting your own daughter, your own wife, your mother, because it could happen to them.
Please, please donate money to them, because I want them to be able to help people like they've helped me.
Thank you for helping me get my freedom back.
I mean, I'd like to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I know I've said thank you a million times, but boy, I'd like to say thank you again, because they really changed my life. And really, like, set me back on the path to be a sort of full, living human being again, when I thought that that just wasn't a possibility.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for saving my life.